Give me a gun. Yes, I thought so. This damn Beretta again. I've told you about this before.
Hey, it's Andrew here at BTO Range in Conroe, Texas. Today on the bench we've got a neat little pistol. It's a Beretta 25 Auto. This is a model 418. And it has an interesting history that goes back to right around the First World War in its first incarnation, maybe before the First World War, but all the way through the 1950s, about the mid-1950s, in its various formats, and included in some pretty famous spy movies of the time. It's a very Cold War era pistol, I guess is where I'm going with that. So Beretta, probably before World War I, started designing a small pocket pistol, and then World War I occurred, and they were, the whole war effort thing. So in 1919, 1920, they came out with basically this little pistol, the scaled-down version of their model 1922, which was in 7.65 caliber, 32 auto. That gun had an internal hammer. Due to the smaller size and smaller scale of this pistol, this is basically a striker-fired pistol, very similar to various other pistols of the era, where the firing pin is actually held in place by a notch, and the sear engages the notch in the firing pin. Spring behind it allows it to move forward through its channel. We'll take it apart here in just a bit. I'll show you what I'm talking about. But no internal hammer on this gun, primarily due to the size and scale, but basically a scaled-down version of the 32 auto in the 1922. So there were various versions of this gun made before the final iteration, which was this gun, the 418. So there's been some research done on this gun already, and it's published out there. But there's a version, and the changes are fairly small and esoteric. But initially, this did not have this grip safety back here. So let's go ahead and clear it before we start talking. We've already got the magazine out of it. The magazine, it's a heel type, very European heel type magazine release here. So let's run this back a few times. So originally, the gun, the first iteration of it, did not have that grip safety, and we see that come in the version 2 of the 1920 at about 106,000 serial number, and moving up into 112,000. Then the model 1926 had changed the disconnector, became the model 1926, necessitated a change in the left grip panel, and we see that moving on up to the various 1926-31 and the 1934 as cosmetic changes. There's a little bit of a change in the angle of the grip and the composition of the grip panels. And none of these changes are marked on the guns at all. They're just kind of found in the Beretta catalogs of the time. So the markings on the gun can be a bit confusing, and we see we see them in internet listings for sale of the guns. We see them mismarked pretty consistently everywhere. Nowhere on this gun is it marked model 418 or the earlier 318s or any of the 1920s versions are not marked. But they will say brevet. The earlier ones prior to the mid-1930s, BREV 1919. And that's how people consider that a model. And that BREV stands in this case for brevettata, which is an Italian word for patented. It just means patented. So when you see BREV 1919, it's exactly the same as if it was marked patent date or whatever 1919 that you would see on a British or an American gun. So not a model number. Brevet is not a model number. You see it on Belgian guns, you see it on French guns, you see it and certainly on Italian guns, and not a model name at all. And it's interesting that just like other nouns in any of the Romance languages, and even in German and most other languages other than current English, nouns have gender. So it's brevettata, which is a feminine variant of Brevettato, the male variant, for patented. So they've feminized this particular little pocket pistol for what that's worth. I don't want to misgender the thing, so please don't hit me up in the comments about misgendering the pistol. But we got off in the weeds real quick on that, didn't we? Anyway, it just means patented. So dealers, if you're encountering one of these and you're marking down what you think is a model name in your acquisition disposition book, that's not a model name, just means patented, but it is marked on the gun. So moving forward, we see the Model 318 come about 1935, 1936-ish, mid-30s. We see the grip change to be more consistent with the Beretta 1934, the width of the grip to be more consistent with the Beretta 1934 and 32 Auto. So there is a dimensional change there in the gun when it became the Model 318, again, not marked on the gun. And then the Model 418 comes about. It's when we get this cocking indicator, which is, this is the end of the striker that's protruding from the rear of the frame right here. It gives you a visual and a tactile reference that the gun is cocked. So again, let's clear it. When the gun is fired, discharged, then it's flat. When the firearm is cocked, then we have that sticking out. So that's a cocking indicator. It's present on the 418 version of the gun. So and even later on, the latest iteration in the late 40s through the 50s had an alloy frame. You see some two-tone guns come about in the Model 418. So this particular gun, this exact pistol here, has an letter A serial number suffix, and that again was done in the Model 418. They were all numeric prefixes up into the Model 418 production. Then we started seeing them suffixed with an A, and then there was a run that was suffixed with a C. This particular gun is 1948, and it is so marked on the side of the frame. I don't know if we can get a good shot on that, but we have a 1948. We have the Italian proof marks here on the side of the frame, and the date of proof of 1948. So Italian proof mark dating can be a little confusing, a little problematic, and it depends on what era the gun was made. So from 1922 until the end of World War II is called the fascist era of Italy, and they had their own calendar. Their calendar started, I think, October 22 or October 28. One or the other is the last day of the fascist year, and then the new day starts, I think it's October 29th is the new first day of the next fascist year. So they would number the guns with Roman numerals based on, and you would add that Roman numeral to 22 to determine what year the gun was produced through 1945. The fascist era of Italy kind of ended when Mussolini took a long drop from a tree, along with most of the members of his family, back at the end of World War II. So, and at that time, after World War II, the Cold War began. So from 1945 to 1953, the Italians used regular Arabic numerals for their proof dates. A lot of times you see it as just one numeral. 1 would be 1945, 9 would be 1953, and you can figure out in between. Or they would mark the whole year, like as on this gun, it says 1948. So from 54 through 70, they used another grouping of Roman numerals, and there are charts available online to decode the Roman numerals to a proof year. After that, from 71 to 73, they kind of combined. You'd see both letters and Roman numerals combined there, and then from 75 forward, there were 2 letters in a box, again a code, and the charts there to decipher it. And the current version now on newly made Berettas or newly made guns from Italy, it's just the last 2 digits of the year in that box. They've given up completely on the codes, thankfully. Makes it a little bit easier to read. So the claim to fame on this gun as other than it being a small, flat little pocket pistol from Beretta, is its prominence in Ian Fleming's novels and the subsequent Bond movies. Well, really only one Bond movie. The rest of it is all Walther PPK. But the Beretta featured in several Bond novels. Now we have to remember that the Bond novels and the Bond movies are not the same chronological order. The very first Bond novel was Casino Royale in 1953, and we didn't get a Bond movie until Dr. No in 1962. So Dr. No actually was 1958. I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the sixth Bond novel number 6 or Bond story number 6. So Casino Royale, Live and Let Die. Moonraker was actually done in 1955. It was a Roger Moore Bond movie. So the only true James Bond I think we can all agree was Sean Connery. I know that's probably going to fire up some comments, but I don't want to hear about Daniel Craig or any of that other bunch, but it's pretty much got to be Connery. But anyway, in the opening scene, or one of the opening scenes of Dr. No, Bond gets called into his boss's office and he's forced to give up his Beretta 25 in favor of a Walther PPK. Now, unfortunately, in the movie, the gun that they show him handing over was not a Beretta 418. It was a Beretta 1934, much bigger gun, and it was not a Walther PPK that he picked up. It was a Walther PP. Again, both those guns are larger than the guns they were purporting to be, easier to see on camera, I suppose. But in the novels, he carried the little 25 for several of the novels prior to changing it. So in any event, how much are these things worth? And we'll take it down. They have actually a pretty decent little following and a pretty decent little monetary value to them. And again, it's the same three things we always talk about: originality, condition, and scarcity. They're not horribly scarce. They're out there to be found. They're available on the used gun market. If you search the various websites and auction sites, you can find them. And they're going for a pretty decent money if they're in pretty decent shape. Now, this one's got a little bit of surface rust on it. It would be what I would call a shooter grade gun. And even so, it's going to be like a $300-ish range gun. Now, if it was a rarer piece, if they made engraved pieces, they made presentation pieces, those would have to be individually evaluated and determine if they were original to get a decent or correct value on those guns. But and then there were some guns that were used by the Germans during World War II with special markings on them, the 4UT markings and things of that nature that tend to add value to them. But on a typical commercial Cold War era gun, post-war gun, the 418, if it's complete and functional and in decent shape, the $300 bill is about where those guns want to live. That said, are they usable today? Yeah, 100%. If you need a little 25 auto, they certainly are. And in fact, I just couldn't stand it, and we actually took this one on the range. And we should do that more often, probably. We've got over at BTO Range, we've got 4 indoor ranges, 12 lanes, a total of 12 lanes at 25 yards indoors, and another 12 lanes at 100 yards indoors for rifles. So there's really no reason why we don't shoot these guns when we talk about them. So we did it with this one, and we'll add that little video onto this. All right, so the Beretta 418 in 6.35 Browning or 25 auto, I just couldn't resist a James Bond gun coming through the store and not shooting it. So we've got 5 rounds in the magazine. We're not getting too heroic with it. We're just at 5 yards on a B-34 target. Let's see if I can even remotely get these bullets downrange. Don't have room for 2 hands, really, so we'll just see what we can do. No bolt hold open, except manually, so we can make the bolt or the slide hold open like that. Let's come back and take these. Well, not tremendously terrible, I guess. Um, Bad guys and, working against His Majesty's Secret Service from Spectre or whomever, uh, have some holes in them. So the Beretta 418 on the range. Let us know if you like us shooting these classic guns that we talk about. We'll try to do that a little bit more often. Try to put a little bit more layers on these videos, if you will. So this particular gun, the bluing is strong. It's got a little bit of surface rust on it. Mechanically, it's fine. The bore is what's called frosted. You'll see that in a lot of descriptions, and what I take that to mean is there's no overt pitting. It just looks kind of like, the rifling is really strong, the grooves are really distinct. It just looks like a little bit of frosted glass, if you will, which is just very, very even, minor erosion, I guess, for lack of a better term. It's not a mirror bore, but it's not really what I consider a damaged board. Certainly very shootable. So in any event, that's kind of how they pan out as far as money wise, based on what I see in completed sales and completed auction listings as of September of 2024 is when we're making this video. So let's take a look at this piece and let's take it down. And it takes down a little differently than a lot of other stuff you may be familiar with. And it can be a little problematic. It doesn't require any tools though. So once you've removed the magazine and you've made sure the gun is clear, on this side, let's take a better look at these markings here. So we have the Beretta markings, the Gardona Via Trompia Italia marking. We also have the brevet marking there. That again, that just means patented. There's no indication of a model number or model name on the gun whatsoever. Now, in the U.S., when they were offered for sale in the 50s in the U.S., they were marketed as the Bantam, and then they were also marketed in some areas as the Panther. And again, that was Galef who came up with that. Back to the cat names on the Berettas. So on this side of the little gun, we don't have any markings except for serialization. We see the serialization on the slide and the frame on this gun. So the Pietro Beretta logo on the grips, little heel-based mag catch here, which is fairly stout, and it can be difficult to get. You don't have a whole lot of grip on that magazine, so it could be a little difficult to get out. So I took it out before we started filming. Grip safety here, loaded chamber indicator here. So to take it apart, to field strip the gun, this is the safety. It rotates 90 degrees. That would be on safe, that would be fire. But if you see this little notch here on the front of the slide, there's a little shelf on this lever that's going to lock that slide back. So we can lock the slide back like that. So once we've locked the slide back, we're actually going to push the barrel in this way, and the barrel is going to come off or come out like that. And now we're going to control the slide, move that lever out of the way, and we can remove the slide off the front, remove the recoil spring in the guide. Now once that's done, this safety and takedown lever is free to just come out. It's held in place actually by the end of this recoil spring guide. So now we see the firing pin, and the firing pin spring is compressed, and that's what I was talking about. The firing pin is actually held in place by the sear, and that's engaged in a notch on the firing pin body itself. So we're going to go ahead and release that. We're going to hang on to it. We're going to release that off, and we're going to move this all the way. Now, this is typical, and when we see this bend here, I mean, it's going to happen, but a lot of times that's because the gun was not put apart correctly. Somebody was trying to reattach the firing pin and its spring to the frame and not using the slide to do that. And it's almost impossible to do while keeping this spring straight. So we get this bend in the spring. It's not really going to hurt anything. And we have fired this gun, and it fired just fine. But that spring is one that typically would need to be replaced, and as well as this recoil spring. So I didn't really mean for this to be a take-apart video, but we're here. So this this end of the firing pin is what's sticking out of the back of the slide when the gun is cocked. So that's what you're seeing, and obviously this is the part that hits the primer. And that also functions, by the way, as the ejector on this gun. So if that breaks, then that's pretty much toast. Now this this part here, this what is the cocking indicator, is not machined integrally to the firing pin body. That can break or it can come loose, in which case it would need to be reattached. I don't know that these parts are being remade. They are typically available as a used part. I don't know that anyone's making a new repro of this. I'd be surprised if they were. So on this barrel, and we are serialized, at least the last 4 digits are serialized on this barrel, but we see this keyway here, this dovetail, and that fits into the gun right here. It can be a little difficult. There we go. When the gun's put back together, it fits into that slide that way. So that's what, when we push this back, we are removing the gun or the barrel out of the dovetail or the keyway in the frame and pulling that out. So that would be the field strip gun. We have the sear here that's pinned in place. We would take this pin out to remove the sear and this underlying sear spray. The trigger is pinned here. There's a trigger bar and this grip safety. The grip safety physically blocks the trigger from being able to be depressed, and that's exactly what this manual safety here also does. It simply blocks the trigger from going rearward to activate the trigger bar. So it's a pretty simplistic design, fairly robust. And pretty simple. So they're solid guns. If a 25 pocket auto is your thing, and here in the U.S. we don't really do a whole lot with 25 autos. It's considered not a reliable caliber for self-defense, and it really doesn't have significant stopping power. But after all the years I've spent in the various public safety arenas that I've worked in, I can tell you nobody likes getting shot. And I've seen a lot of people have unfortunate ends from a 25 ACP. So not a toy by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not something you would choose to go into harm's way, not even if you're as cool as James Bond. So anyway, the Beretta 418, or the Beretta Bantam, the Beretta Panther from 1948, a little Cold War James Bond super spy gun. If you like what we're doing, hit that like button. Let us know. Hit that notification bell. Send us put a comment, drop a comment in there. Send us an email. We like hearing from you, and we're going to keep on. We're going to keep on doing this as long as you guys keep interested, for sure. Thanks a bunch, and we'll see you on the next one.
007.
Sir?
Just leave the Beretta.